causes you problems, if you have if you fundamentally have a problem with this and not with this, you're probably racist, or at least harbor discriminatory attitudes. You have a bias within you about race. And the Republican Party most certainly has that. And I don't believe it's just a bias. I believe it's outright racism. You see, in the 1960s, the Black Panther Party used to do cop watching, where they had armed patrols that would go out and ensure that their people were safe in their communities, because the cops weren't going to do it.
That clip was brought to you by one of my favorite guys I like to listen to, Jesse Dollemore. And I wanted to just touch on this really quick subject in regards to the Black Panther movement. Like and subscribe to the channel. By the way, I'm trying to push for 500 subscribers, and we're getting there. Not really, but anyways, yeah. So what Jesse Dollemore was talking about was how things shifted, rules changed when the Black Panther movement decided to use their Second Amendment rights in regards to the right to bear arms. And during the Black Panther movement time, this wasn't a fascist group of people. These were brothers and sisters that were trying to protect brothers and sisters because of the police brutality. I couldn't even say it for a second there. Police brutality, the inaction when it came to when there was an emergency need and the police were called going to a black community to try to help. People were not coming out to help. And I'm talking about the police. They would take their sweet ass time to go and help a person of color in regards to their need or help. So the Black Panther movement wasn't only just a movement to protect the black and brown people, but to protect people in general that lived in the communities. They did food banks for children. You know, they tried to educate children as well. And they did not propose hate in regards to how Nazis proposed the hate for people of color, for Hispanics, for blacks, for Asians, for Jews, for Muslims. You see, the Black Panthers were not people that expressed hate. They just wanted justice for everyone. And they wanted to make sure that the police that were beating up on black and brown people unjustly, that they would seek justice for them too, in regards to, you know, police officers beating up young kids or police officers that were white that were beating up on black people. The things that I learned about the Black Panther movement was not about hatred. It was about unity for a community of people of color to protect their own, because obviously the government and the systems in place were not protecting them themselves. So, of course, what Jesse Dollemore proposed or showed in that small clipping there, I'm going to play the full clip here pretty soon. But I wanted to talk about, you know, what this current administration is doing to take away black and brown people's rights with the deportations, deporting people that do not like what Trump has done. And it said something negatively about the Trump administration, or just even, you know, proposed a lawsuit in regards to the crimes that Trump committed during his first presidential run and going into the 2020, where there were classified documents that were taken that were requested many a times back in 2021, 2022, that Trump did not bring back because they were not his to take. And these were highly classified documents. You see, right now we are in a country that is just, things are going down the drain for Trump, and their administration can do nothing but lie. They lie about these illegal immigrants that they're going to deport, or criminals, because they're deporting people that are innocent. They lie about Trump saying, you know, hey, he didn't sign an executive order for deportations to take place overnight, where a judge says, you know, this is unconstitutional. There is a due process when it comes to it. So I'm going to play the rest of Jesse Dollemore's clip in regards to the Black Panther movement and just the injustice that we had during the 60s when Ronald Reagan decided that, you know, for anyone to have an arm, you know, anyone to bear arms or whatnot, they can catch a crime. Basically, they could be, considered a convicted felon only because the Black Panther movement decided that they were going to be, using their Second Amendment rights as well as their First Amendment rights. So check this clip out. I'm going to play the rest of this here, and then I wanted to talk about a couple of other YouTubers that I really enjoy and admire in regards to their fight for justice for the right side of the country, for the side that's fighting for democracy. Check this video out.
Causes you problems. If you fundamentally have a problem with this and not with this, you're probably racist, or at least harbor discriminatory attitudes. You have a bias within you about race. And the Republican Party most certainly has that. And I don't believe it's just a bias. I believe it's outright racism. You see, in the 1960s, the Black Panther Party used to do cop watching, where they had armed patrols that would go out and ensure that their people were safe in their communities, because the cops weren't going to do it. We're seeing the same thing. You know what the title of the video is. You've seen the thumbnail. You know what I'm going to talk about. But I want to shine a light on this. It's not new. It's not new for black folks to have to protect themselves because the state, the government, the United States of America, to which they pay taxes, of which they are citizens, isn't doing its job. In the 1960s, the Black Panther Party started protesting. They showed up where it was legal to open carry in California at the time. It's no longer, spoiler alert, because of this. Ronald Reagan signed a law that made it illegal to open carry in the state of California because Black Panthers showed up at the state capitol, as was their right, as was legal at the time, and it scared white people. Remember COVID? Remember the lockdowns where these people showed up on the state capitol steps all over the country, armed to the teeth to protest the lockdowns? A lot of Republicans were totally okay with this, but this scares the shit out of them because it's black people. Oh, scary black people. Yeah. So let me read this from the CBS News. Actually, this would probably be better to sum it up since I'm clearly a little befuddled today. This is from CBS News, the lasting legacy of the 1967 Black Panther gun control protest at California Capitol. May 2nd marked the 57th anniversary of one of the most spectacular protests in California state capitol history. The Black Panthers entered the Capitol building armed with guns in protest. Entering the Capitol with an open carry gun was not against the law then. That changed very quickly. Video from the day shows the scene. Black Panthers in their trademark berets and leather jackets carried handguns and shotguns through the halls of the Capitol. State police only stopped the men after 10 had reached the assembly chambers. The shocking protest was aimed at state gun control legislation, seeking to prevent the Black Panthers police patrols, their practice of following officers in black neighborhoods. They called it cop watching. Seems like a good idea to me. Following the 1967 Black Panther protest, Republican Assembly member Don Mulford added an urgency clause to his gun control legislation, passed it, and then Governor Ronald Reagan signed it into law. The new law made it a felony to publicly carry a loaded firearm without a permit because of racism, because of white supremacy, because Ronald Reagan, who was a nasty racist himself. And if you don't believe that, if you know, oh, you're just saying that because he's a Republican, there's audio. I'll try to find the audio. I'll just find it. I'll find the audio. We'll put it here, where he's on the phone with Richard Nixon talking about a delegation of African politicians and was joking about them being monkeys and shocked that they wore shoes.
Last night, I tell you, to watch that thing on television, as I did. Yeah. To see those monkeys from those African countries. Damn them, they're still uncomfortable wearing shoes.
So yeah, Ronald Reagan, a real piece of shit. However,
Jesse is 110% right. And when it comes to history and just knowing specific situations or specific things to just get more information on it, we have to go back to do the research. And we have to go back to understand the reasons why things were set in place like that. Now, when it comes to the Nazis and the KKKs, they are fueled by hate. They are fueled by white supremacy, where they believe that the white man is supposed to be on top. And Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the Trump administration, they are trying to impose these same things in regards to removing diversity, equity, and inclusion, or doing away with affirmative action that some of people think that it's not good to have in regards to, oh, well, everyone needs to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and we want the best of the best of the best. Yet when we look at the administration, do we have the best of the best of the best? Do we have people that have the experience to be in the positions that they're in? I think not. My next guy that I like listening to is Christopher Titus, and he's going to touch on education because right now, you know, of course, Donald Trump proposed the dismantling of the Department of Education illegally. And, you know, it's going to be very scary for those red states if the Department of Education was completely dismantled. So check this video out for Christopher Titus, one of my other guys from Christopher Titus TV podcast. Him and his counterparts that do the podcast, they're amazing people, and they are fighting for the right side for democracy as well. These are not your right-wing, straight fascist talking points. These are not your right-wing, straight fascist people that like to spew lies. These are individuals that care for our democracy and care for America. Check it out.
Spheric administration workers, you know, the people that like give us early information and warnings about weather that kills us. Stop! Good. Oh. He fired them. This guy would outlaw brakes in cars if Biden or Obama had demanded it. Yeah, why go fast if you also need to stop? It makes no sense. He ended 2 departments that deal with food safety. So, people, you need to stock up on TP and vomit bags. Launched investigations into 52 universities, accusing them of racial preferences, even though 58.4% of your college students are pasty-ass crackers like myself, although I didn't go to college. He directed the military to drop plans for invading Panama. Again, our mortal enemy. Panama! He killed $20 billion to fund clean energy projects. You know, the things that would kind of help humanity, like clean air and water. Of course, I guess that goes with the food safety thing. He fired a pardon attorney because she refused to give domestic abuser Mel Gibson his gun back. I love that Trump goes macro and micro. He said independent news should be illegal. So enjoy these last few Armageddon updates, people. He said it'd be worth it if his policies led to a recession, and asked the Supreme Court to violate the Constitution on birthright citizenship. And he erased Black and Brown and Native American soldiers' records from Arlington Cemetery. That's just this week. And I got it wrong, by the way. None of these things are Democrat or Republican things. None of it. It's good and evil. I have family who are Republican. Guess what? They aren't evil. But this fat felon fuck-up douchebag and South African dork Lord Vader are pure evil. Musk said empathy is the downfall of Western civilization. But now he seems to be pissed that people have no empathy for his Nazi car company. Yeah, Nazi, I'm saying it. This is the epitome of evil. This is a Zig Heil, a Heil Hitler, Satan's high five. He didn't throw it behind closed doors with buddies. He was on TV and threw it up in the air and Heiled Hitler like he just don't care at a political rally. And this dude loves dictators, leaders who murder their own people. We don't need a president who has the biggest, most evil murdering assholes on his dream board. Evil. You know it's evil because they have all the money and all the power and they're still angry. I'll say it again. The billionaires have decided that people with nothing have too much. And they want it all, people. Your money, your retirement, your education, which, by the way, is your kids' and grandkids' future, your information. They're taking the weather service so we can't see what's coming to kill us.
Big science nerds, actually.
Oh, right. Because it's just too obvious to just lead us into the showers and turn on the gas or put us in boxcars. Take out your gold teeth, everybody, and grab your museum, buddy. We're going on a field trip to the camp. This is happening in America today. In America today. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. I just don't get that people are just like, yeah, you know, traffic.
Ooh, I like the guy. He rags on Trump. He rags on Elon. He rags on the Republican Party. And I love it because it's absolutely 110% true as well. Just like Jesse Dollemore, who, you know, these guys, they are on the right side of history. They are on the correct side of history because America is falling. Rome is not falling. America's falling. And I agree with Christopher Titus when it comes to education. The Trump administration wants to destroy education for the simple fact that the more people that are educated, that have, you know, a higher level of education, they understand the systemic racism or the racist systems and policies that are put in place. And they're going to talk about it. That's why you see that Trump is the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice is allowing these things to happen to individuals like professors who are being deported for saying something that Trump did not like. You know, our free speech in America is getting destroyed. For individuals to say, you know, I don't like what Trump did, and yet they get jailed and deported like they're some so-called criminal, that is not right. We are going more and more into a dictatorship. And the MAGA nuts who are celebrating all this bullshit, the MAGA nuts, those people, I have to challenge their intelligence because they should see that this is not right as well. There hasn't been anything proposed in America to make America better again, to make America great again. This video, I'm coming with, you know, some other clips in this video, but I come with passion because I care about the people. I care, you know, God gave me the right to care about others as well as myself. Excuse me, I had to burp there. But this next clip I want to talk about, this is by Rebel HQ. You have to check them out as well. But this next clip is talking about these senators, these Republican senators that are asking for exemptions when it comes to the things that are being put in place by the Trump administration. Check it out. It's hilarious.
He was going to start raiding places. She said she didn't believe he would actually follow through on some of the more hardline policies he touted during the campaign. 49-year-old Omaha, Nebraska resident said, quote, "Now I'm like, dang, why didn't I just pick Kamala?" Emily Anderson from Duluth, Minnesota, categorizes her vote for Trump this year as the, quote, "biggest mistake of my life." She is horrified by Trump's focus on deportations and use of Guantanamo Bay to hold migrants. Anderson said, quote, "I feel so stupid, guilty, regretful. Embarrassed is a huge one. I am absolutely embarrassed that I voted for Trump."
As we continue to hear horror stories and reports about Trump supporters regretting their votes with his first month back in office now behind him, Republican officials are trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Lisa Murkowski of Alaska asking for exemptions to Trump's cuts and actions, specifically for Indian tribes in Alaska. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa asking for an exemption for Iowa farmers to the tariffs on Canada. Republican Florida Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar asking for an exemption to the indiscriminate deportation policies. Republican Senator Katie Britt asking for an exemption on the massive cuts to scientific and medical research, saying, you couldn't possibly mean Alabama for those cuts, could you? Not Alabama. You want these cuts elsewhere, right? Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine saying the same thing, saying surely those cuts don't apply to the universities and labs in Maine. She said if it applies to the ones in Maine, that would be, quote, devastating.
Well, it's admitted.
You know, I had posted a video, and I'm going to put a link in the description as well, as for the rules for thee, but not for me, right? So with Trump talking about deporting illegals, criminals, and, you know, Trump talking about that they're going to do away with some of the Biden policies that was set in place to help red states in regards to increasing jobs in red states, increasing businesses in red states. Now we have Chuck Grassley and, you know, your Katie Britts that are asking for exemptions for their people in their states. However, they didn't think about, oh, well, you know what? He's going to give us an exemption anyways. He's going to have to do it because we're Republicans. Trump could care less about that. Trump is doing what Trump wants to do. So if that affects your state, it is your fault that you allowed this to happen. It is your fault that Alabama may lose thousands of jobs, just like those government jobs that are being taken away from voters that voted for Trump. This is the FAFO phase. You can't, like I said, the Republican Party are hypocrites. They will celebrate something that they know is not good. And then when that shit happens, they want to say, please help us, Trump, please. You know, just take it in consideration for Alabama. Take in consideration for Wyoming or whatever. Don't affect the farmers. You know, don't hurt the farmers. I remember here in Florida. When they were going to implement deportations, and we had farmers saying, please allow us to have these immigrants come here because they help us out when it comes to the farm, and we can pay them less. FAFO all around. You know, it shouldn't be rules for thee and not for me. If Trump is implementing this and it affects your state and the people that voted for you that voted for you in office, they need to realize that they made a mistake, and they are figuring it out now. People are upset now that the shit is happening when black people have been telling them a long time ago about Project 2025. Jesse Dollemore was telling them a long time ago about Project 2025. Rebel HQ, Christopher Titus TV, Meidas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pacman, Tabitha Speaks Politics, Coach D Speaks, Afro Think Tank. We were all telling you guys about Project 2025. Yet you didn't want to listen, and now the shit is here, and it's going fast. I'm talking very fast. I end with this. I end with my guy Ben Meidas from the Meidas Touch that touches on the dumbness of Donald Trump in regards to his stupidity and him dismantling the Department of Education, where he had children there that were fake mock-up signing an executive order, not knowing that that shit affects them. It affects them when it comes to dismantling the Department of Education. I end with this. This is Walt from the Just Listen podcast. I have my Heisenberg Breaking Bad shirt on today because I love that show. That show was amazing, and it talked about science and chemistry. And they wanted to do away with that, with the Department of Education dismantling. We got any anti-science people out there? Like and subscribe to the channel. I end with Ben Meidas. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.
Trump, this wannabe authoritarian gross. Here's Donald Trump just recently, before he went to go play golf at Mar-a-Lago again this weekend, when he issued an executive order saying he wants to eliminate the Department of Education. He said the reason why he's doing that is because all these workers at the Department of Education are too busy playing golf and not working, as Donald Trump is playing golf and not working. Play this clip.
We don't want to have wasteful jobs. We want to have meaningful jobs. And those were wasteful jobs. Those are jobs that not only military, but jobs where people don't show up. You take a look at Department of Education. I've never seen so many buildings with the names on it. You go past one after another Department of Education, and they're empty. The people don't show up. You know why? Because they have other jobs, because they're playing golf, or they're playing something, they're doing something.
And folks, you even have Republicans out there, it's like Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski speaking in her state, and she's saying, how did this happen? How did we get to a place where we're attacking Canada and we're supporting Russia? Because of you, Murkowski. It's because you support people like Donald Trump and his idiotic, dangerous